Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to episode number 15 in our FTB Oceanblock series. Last time we were working on doing our upgrades and finishing quest lines, and we were running low on resources. I still have not yet gotten enough diamonds to finish maximizing our mechanism machines. I'm still waiting on more diamonds to come in. But just like I said at the end of the last episode, we really need more power. So I was thinking about different ways we could move into more power, and one thing I noticed for sure is that we have just a ridiculous amount of uraninite, which is used for making the reactor for power. So I have 7 stacks of the dense uraninite in my inventory. I'm going to throw them into this smelting factory here. Speed it up a little bit. So each stack of that turns into 4 stacks when we process it. So the amount that we have is pretty crazy. In fact, I had so much my inventory was too full. So if we look at Powah, what we're talking about doing is building a reactor. So let's see, where is our reactor in here? Reactor starter. So let's go to our quest line. And if we go to Powah, I just want to see if this gives us any information or if we need to look into our cables. Here's our reactor. So we need to make 36 reactor blocks to start. So let's do that now. We'll just do a starter reactor. That means we need to make 36 of these, we're going to need to do 9 dielectric casings. Oops. It looks like we're going to need to make more of that. So let's do the dielectric paste. Looks like we ran out of clay. Again, we have essences in here so that we can craft clay on demand. But let's go back to here. We can craft more of these now. We're out of iron bars. Okay, so then this is the ones I'm going to need. We'll have to make 9 of these. And then we're going to need 36 of these capacitors. Let's go back and look at that one more time. We need 36 of these, which means we need 18 of these. Did I do that math wrong? I must have. Let's just make a couple stacks of those. Not going to hurt anything. Oh, these are the ones that I actually need. I was clicking on the wrong reactor. That's what happened. Okay, so now we can craft 36 reactor blocks. I have not actually ever crafted our reactor before. We just got a mob crusher. After all the effort we put into making that, getting it as a reward just kind of makes you laugh. I haven't actually crafted one of these reactors before, so I'm going to take a little bit to read through the book, familiarize myself with how we set it up, and then we will get started with it. I was recording a clip building our reactor here to show you how it works, and I got interrupted with a work phone call. So I'm just going to show you briefly how this works, because this is not going to be its final spot anyway. I've just built it here for convenience to do some testing. So the reactor is a 3x3x4 multi-block structure from Powah. It uses uraninite as fuel and generates Fe for us. Once you put down a block, it auto builds itself, and then you have different inputs on every side. They're all the same. You can put anything on any side, but I have it set up so that there's a flux plug here, which is pulling power out of the reactor to add to our system. Then we have an exporter here, exporting fuel, redstone, and coal. And then on this side, I have a simple setup. There's water underneath. Pump is pumping up the water. This I upgraded with speed and energy upgrades so that it's producing as much water as we can possibly need, and it's powered from our network. When it's all said and done, we have redstone, coal, uraninite, and water in there. I do have some blue ice that I put in manually, which is helping with cooling the system down quite a bit. We don't use a lot of it, so for now I just put it in there. I don't want to automate putting blue ice in because we're going to be going to dry ice before we're done. But with just all these things in, set up the way it is, this starter level reactor is producing 1,500 Fe per tick. To get into the higher tiered reactors, we can actually go to a basic level reactor without much trouble, but we need to do hardened, we would need to do hardened capacitors, which use energized steel, and then blazing uses blazing crystals, and the niotic uses diamond crystals. And then this one would be the emerald level. And then this one finally is the super high level nitro one, but it uses nether stars, which we obviously don't have access to yet. But once we get into those higher levels, each of these gets a higher and higher amount. My goal to shoot for is to get to the point where we're at the hardened level, because that will be generating 12,000 Fe per tick. About. At blazing, I'm not quite ready to do because we don't have a source for a blaze rods that's really easy. I guess we do have blaze powder. We could do that tier. We may get to that tier, but for now, I'm going to leave this one set up so that it's generating power for us and we can continue to generate resources. At the moment, we're generating enough power that our energy cube up here has filled up with power. So we're keeping up with this system and this system. And this system has started to back up with power. And we're providing power to our sluice downstairs. So everything is doing really well. You can see that this is backing up now. There we go. We have maxed out our power. 10 million Fe per tick stored there. In this system, we have 102 million Fe, and we are... Why are we not using power downstairs? We should have some power going out to this system over here. I wonder if the buffer filled up. Yeah, looks like it did. So we're still using a lot of Fe per tick. This says 59.81, but I think that cost is per operation. And so it's basically every time a bucket of water is used, we're using that much. So it's not per tick, for sure. So we could actually probably put some more fortune upgrades in here. But to put it in perspective, when I started this episode, which was about, in my time, a little less than an hour ago, I had no diamonds in the system at all. I'm already up to 4 more here, and I just processed 37 of them. So we got a stack and a half of diamonds in less than an hour from that system, which means that in no time we'll build all of our resources back up, and we can get to crazy levels with that reactor without that much trouble. I am going to set up an area that is just for that reactor. I'm not quite sure where I want to do it yet. I may move all of our power generation to another site. I was thinking about possibly doing it on a second island, which could be kind of cool, but I'm not quite sure. So I'm going to give that some thought, and we'll work on getting a few other things set up so that we can make higher level reactors, and we will get to the point where we have just ridiculous levels of power. I don't plan on spending a lot of time doing this during this episode, but I got started with expanding the island down to add a room for my reactors, and then that led to me expanding the island out some, and I'm just experimenting with doing some terraforming. It doesn't look so great yet, but trying to do like creating a border for an island that is kind of, I want to have a bayou, not a bayou, a lagoon, wrong word, a lagoon kind of thing that comes in over here and have it wrap around and then make like an island that goes out to expand the island out. So I'm doing like, just experimenting with some layers and just filling in with dirt. And it's going okay. It's something that's definitely going to take a lot of time to work on, so I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to work on it much today. I just wanted to show you my process for it. So basically just creating an outer edge, and then I use a wand to fill it in with dirt like this. And you know, we're slowly making an actual island around the chunks that I have claimed here. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to need a lot of work because we got to go out all the way around this side and this one. And then the edges don't look too natural in some spots, so we'll have to make some changes. But the goal is to expand it out and then also expand that down to reach the ocean floor to make this look like a real island. It's going to take a lot of time if I want to do that. We'll see how it goes. While I've been working on figuring out the inner workings of my island base, I've been letting the grass spread out, and I do think it looks a lot better with grass on it, but I think I still need to do a lot of work on these outer edges to try to make this look more like an island, and that's going to work later. What I have done is up here at the center, some potatoes quick. Up here at the center, I've made a elevator, and this one I've camouflaged as cobblestone. I'm not sure if I want to do that, or if I want to change it up, make it something different. But so basically I'm making like a center elevator to bring us down to all the levels. This is the one that I had, last one that I had before, for the piping underneath the storage room, and then this is the one that I'm working on now. I'm clearing it out slowly. I'm trying to figure out how I want to do the lighting in it and things like that. There's still some water below us, and if you go down you can look and see that I have not expanded the island all the way down yet. Still working on that. But this level is basically where the bottom of the island that existed was. See all the broken, jagged pieces, and I have been expanding down sections, corners to make pillars and things like that. That's a project that's going to take a very long time, but we'll get it done. Probably just do it in sections off camera as I need to expand. But for now, what I need to do is go through and clear out all the cobblestone in this room. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing like a central hallway kind of setup, and then I'm going to have corner rooms where we can do like different rooms for different things. And on this floor, we'll start by making our power room that has our reactor, and it has all the other equipment that I need for Powah to do the energizing orb and that kind of stuff. But I want to get this whole room cleared out first, just so I can kind of visualize how I want to do it. I have finished the layout for the rooms that I'm doing. So what I did is I put a trapdoor here with a ladder down. That gets us down to our maintenance level where we have like all of our pipes and things. And then come back up. The elevator, we still have the one up top, so we can get to it from out here. The elevator goes down to this level. So the maintenance floor that I was just on is above us. You can't get to it by elevator, you have to go through trap. So I'm going to have another trapdoor down here that leads to another maintenance level. And then this will be my next floor that I'm building on. And so I corded these out into different rooms, and in these hallways, I put glowstone down in the floor. I probably will use some glowstone for lighting in here. The main reason I wanted to do this in here is if I decide to expand the rooms or these hallways farther out, and there is water behind them, I don't want them washing all my toys. So the next thing I'm going to do is come over here, and I'm going to be getting all of our Powah stuff from our reactor and all that, and I'm going to be moving it down to a room dedicated for that mod. And that's kind of the idea. Excuse me. Kind of the idea with each of these mods coming forward. I'll have a room that's dedicated for each mod, and I may move some of my other tech stuff down from up top. Mechanism I'm going to keep up here because this is just going to be my main mechanism area. But I may move some other things. I'm not sure. You know, now I have more options to put things in more space, and then I can expand down farther if I need to. I mean, I'm still only at 103 for the Y, so I can go down another 100 blocks into the ocean and the floor below it. So I did leave this room. No, it's this way. Hard for me to remember which room is. So let me look at it from up. This is this one. So this way. I did leave this ladder behind that gives us access down to here, just simply because this is the one that goes all the way down to the ocean. And so just helps me to have a way to get down there and do that kind of stuff. But for the most part, I'm trying to make it so that all of our access to these rooms is through the elevator. So I'm pretty happy with it. Still need to work out more lighting so I can get rid of more torches to make the place look a little nice. And I still got to decide on some block pallets. I think that this room I want to take some time and redo this floor with some proper lighting and make it like a wooden floor that goes with the theme for the storage. Just to make it a little more finalized. I have a few blocks I can go above too if I want to make like a vaulted ceiling, because there's about, I want to say it's 3 blocks. It's a total of 4 blocks between here and below. So like if I were to go down, I could still go up 3 more blocks without hitting the top of the room, the area, you know. So let's fill it back. And so that's something I want to work on. I probably am going to do like a cosmetic episode coming up soon, because I want to work on that. I want to work on shaping the island. I want to make things look a little better. But for now, I'm going to work on getting this power set up so that we have our power taken care of for the next little while. I added in a basement for our new room because we're going to need somewhere to run our wires to each room. And then I got distracted and started working on a floor design up here. I don't know if I like it. It's really dark. I like the pattern going different ways. I also don't like the fact that it takes forever to place it. So, I don't know. But I'm going to work on that on another time. What I need to do now is I need to grab some cabling. Get all of this junk put away. I need to grab some cable. Oh, probably in here. There is. And so what we need to do is get cabling from our confined storage network down into our new room. So what I think I want to do, since this is sort of our central place for it, like this line here is centrally located. I think I'm gonna do, of course, water behind that wall. Water everywhere. Almost like I'm playing Oceanblock. But I'm gonna run a line down here all the way to the bottom. That'll be good enough for now. So this is our lowest basement. Let's just put the line here. Let's go and place it. And we'll run this all the way up to connect it to our main refined storage grid. And then now we have access to it in that basement. So we'll come down here. And what I'm going to do is, for now, we'll just run a line into this room. And then we can figure out where we want to run it from there. But so that'll be all we need for the moment. Because this is the room we're going to start building our power setup. So then in here, I can actually poke through that wall. And we may end up running it behind or whatever in the future. I gotta look to see. I don't know if there's any anchors for refined storage. Let's check that out real quick. Covers. Yes, they sure are. Okay, so it's a nugget and a brick. So whatever wall I end up doing, I can just put covers along this. So that'll be fine. But what I'm going to do first, I'm going to get the stuff I need to set up an energizing station. So when we look at that, that's here. We need to have at least one energizing rod and an energizing orb connected to our power grid. And we can add more energizing rods as we go, but the higher tier ones require materials that we have to energize. So I'll probably just do one to get it set up so we can see how it works and we can get started with some energizing to figure out how we want to automate it. And then we will use the system once it's automated to craft the things that we want to expand. So I'm going to get a few things made, including some things we need for autocrafting, and then we'll set it up together. We've gotten together all the items that I need in order to set up some autocrafting with our energized. So first thing we got to do is take some of this cable. We're going to run it down a little farther. I'm going to set this up over here. I have a crafting grid I put in down here so that I can access stuff if I need to. We want to have this cable go underground a little bit too. Okay, so first thing we want to put on is our energizing orb. Let's go down here underneath it. On the bottom of that, we're going to put... Oh, I thought I had it. Maybe I didn't grab it. I don't see it in here. Quick, make another one. We just need an importer so that we can import items into our system. Thought I had one. Oh, it fell down here. Okay, so we want to take this off. We're going to put the importer on the bottom of that. Okay, so that's going to import anything we put in. To get items put out to it, I want to set this crafter facing into it. I'm going to set this crafter up so that it will craft, it'll insert my next set with the redstone pulse. So that's all set up. So now if I put this pattern I made, 1 iron and 1 gold makes 2 energized steel, and I go in here to make energized steel, let's say we want to do 4. So if I didn't have this set to redstone pulse inserts the next set, it would put all the items in at once. This system wouldn't be able to work. Now the next thing we need in order to craft is we need to have the energizing rod where it can point to this. So the first thing I'm going to do, we can add many of these, but I want to have, let's just do this. I want to have it above it, and then I can expand it as I need to. Let's do power cable up here like this, and we'll put our flex point on the side of it. So now we have power connected to that, and we're going to put the rod just facing downwards. Now that energizing rod, you can see it has power. It's shooting a laser down into our base, and after a little bit of time, we got energized steel. Now the problem is, that's working fine, but our crafter is set up so that it will not do the next set until it gets a redstone pulse. So what I decided to do for that, I'm just going to use some vanilla redstone for now. May come up with a better way to do it in the future. It's a little more compact, but what we want to do is basically this. And since I didn't have it set up first, let's just put this in here. So it didn't send in the next set when that pulse went through because it was just a single pulse. When that gets pulled out and it pulses again, it'll send in the next set. So now I can queue up as many energizing orb recipes as I want, and it will only make them one at a time, and then when it's done, the importer will pull it out and it'll put out the next one. I also have 8 more slots for energizing orb recipes. So if we look at our system here, the things that we need to make with energizing orbs is energized steel, and then we need blazing crystals. So we want to do 4 blaze powder, makes 1 blazing crystal for 120,000 RF. We could do blaze rods too, but these I already have in the system, and I don't want to have to take the extra step to craft these, and I don't mind the extra power. So before we can add another recipe, what we have to do is go up to here, and in our pattern grid, I have some blank patterns. So we go in and we pick the recipe, and we say this one, and we shift click it in, and it will tell this system that it's a processing recipe. So it shift clicks into the pattern grid really nicely. Let's also teach it the diamond one, because we have the materials for that, no problem. And let's do the emerald one as well. We could do not the nitro crystals, but we don't have the nether stars or the block of blazing crystals for it yet anyway, so we'll leave that alone for now. We'll do that when the time comes. So for now, if we put these in, let's go over to our crafter. We'll put these in order. Now if we go in here and we look up power, we can see we have the ability to craft energized steel, niotic crystals, and spirit crystals. Let's try to do a blazing crystal. We'll just do 1. We'll hit start. You can see it puts out the 4 blaze powder. We need 120k FE, so it's going to take some time since we just have the 1 basic energizing orb or rod, but it will do it. So what we should focus on first is upgrading those rods. So if we go to Powah again, and we look at these energizing rods, the basic one was actually one I got from a reward, so we're already up to a tier 2. The tier 3 ones are made with hardened capacitors and blocks of quartz. We have that. We can make all of these things, but basically we would take our basic rod and upgrade it with 2 hardened capacitors. So to make hardened capacitors, we need to use energized steel. Now, I made a bunch of energized steel while I was testing the system, so that's not a problem at all. So let's wait till this one's done, because I don't want to interrupt it. Actually, you know, what I'm going to do is, while that's working, let's do energizing rod. We'll craft one from the start. So what we need are some tiny capacitors. We need a casing. And we need to craft starting rod. Then we'll craft that into a basic rod, which means we need another casing. And we're going to have to craft a second one of these rods. Let's do this again. Get our second starter rod. Go to basic. Oh, basic needs another casing that I used. And now we can make another basic. So now to make it into a hardened rod, we're going to need another casing. And we can make a hardened rod. And now, just to show you, if I put this one up here, now they're both getting power. So let's try to craft another one of these. Oops. Oh, that's not the one I want this one. So now, this is getting power a lot faster because we're getting power from this energizing rod and from this one. Obviously, this one is using a lot more power because it can. The limit we have right now is that the basic universal cable, I don't know if it's limitless or not, but let's look at the basic universal cable. Basic universal cable has a maximum transfer of 3.2 FE. So if we look at energizing rods, our hardened rod has a maximum IO of 120. This one has a maximum one of 50, so it's plenty. We're just using the power as fast as we're putting it in, so it's kind of sitting there. You can see it's going up now. So that'll be fine. But we can keep adding to this as much as we want. Probably make like a 3x3 grid of rods above it just to make it go super fast. But so now we can make any of the crystals that we need. And so the reason that we wanted to do that is that I want to get all the way up to a spirited reactor. So to make a spirited reactor, I need to make, I want to say it's 36 of those. Yeah, I need 36 of these casings. So let's go back in there. So 36 of these means we need to do 9 crafts, so that means we need 9 times 4, which is 36, and then we also need to make 9 times 4, 36 of these, which takes another 4 for each one. So that is 36 times 4 plus 36, so 36 times 5, which is 180 of these spirited crystals. So I don't even know if we have the ability to do that. I don't know if we have. Let's see what we can. Let's try to do it and see what happens. 180. Why do you not want to do the thing? Well, it looks like it says that we have the emeralds to do it. I don't know how long that would take. Probably a long time, since it's 1,000,000 FE for each one. We can only transfer in at 170 per. So let's go back here and do some more energizing rods. I have a starter. That's going to take forever. So I think that we should focus on getting some more energizing rods to add to this system to speed this process up, because otherwise we're going to be waiting for several hours for this craft to finish. I do want to check, as far as power goes currently with the reactor we have, I don't think that would really even be a problem, because right now we're sitting on Why do you not want to? There we go. We're sitting on 102 million FE plus the 8 million or 10 million that's in here. So we almost have enough power already generated, and it'll just keep refilling as we go. So we just need to make more and faster energizing rods so that we can get this craft done sometime this millennia. Alright, I've done some upgrading with our blazing rod, or our energizing rods here. I had them all up to hardened. I'm working on making blazing tier ones, so I have everything I need for them, so all I have to do is take the hardened ones in, put them in, and do that. So just like everything else I was showing you in Powah, mostly, it's just a matter of upgrading to the next tier. So let's go to Spirited Crystals now. Let's just do craft 2 of them, just so we can see how long it takes. Now that we have 9 blazing energizing rods flowing in. So it's a lot faster. It could still go faster than that. But it wouldn't take incredibly long to make all the Spirited Crystals we would need to go to our one of our higher tier reactors. Let's do energizing rod. So all we need to do to go to the next tier is to get capacitors. So I would need 18 of these, which means I need 72 niotic crystals. So let's try to see if we can craft those. Oh, do I cancel that one? There we go. Just want to see how long it takes to do. They're pretty quick. So what I'll probably do is let that... Well, that's interesting. That didn't work the way I expected it to. Maybe I need to delay that? But you know what? I wonder if it's because... it's not seeing it as a pulse because they happen too far apart. Oh wait, no, this is only giving us a signal of 1. So it's not doing a pulse. Well, that's interesting. Let me try to do... I had originally was going to try to do this with an observer. I'd want that to face the other way. Yeah, see, that's a problem. I wanted originally to just do it like this. Let's try this again. I wanted to do an observer facing into here. And then have the pulse go out, but I don't think that worked. Yeah, that did not send a pulse out, so... Let's do capacitor here, and let's get another repeater. So let's do another torch. Yeah, that fixes it. So this just allows it to make sure that even if it's just a signal from one item being in here, it has enough power to go the whole way through and cycle into the next one. I've taken some time and gotten some autocrafting done here. The energizing rods I got all the way up to the spirited level, which means they use quite a bit of power, so it was a bit of a struggle to get it all done, but I've managed to get a reactor set up, and I've gotten it configured over here. I'm just going to show you the setup. So, same as when we did this before, when you have the 36 reactor blocks, you just find the spot where you want to place it. You see how it shows green when it's time to place, and then you just place one block, and the reactor will place itself, which is pretty cool. Now I have everything else here configured. I just need to connect it back up to the reactor the way we have it set up on our reactor upstairs. This one I'm going to break, easier to place and configure. So we have water getting pumped up from this pump, and it is supplying the reactor. Here we have plug pulling power out of our reactor into our network, and back in here, kind of hard to see, but I have an import bus that is sending uraninite, coal, redstone, and dry ice into our reactor. So fill these up just so that we can see it working. The dry ice is going to help us get the reactor to cool down, so it's cooling down. It'll go all the way down as low as it can go. And then we're producing, at the moment, we're producing 52K. And we're going to set it to auto mode so that it sets itself down when it is full. And then once it goes down to less than 70%, it'll kick itself back. That's the best way to have it set up. Down to 123, but it'll cool down even more next time it starts running. Right now it's not running because our network is full. Let's do some autocrafting just to use up some power so we can get it in operation. We'll just make 10 of these. They take quite a bit of power. See, we're getting very quickly processing through those because these can provide a lot of FE per tick. Do this. So now we should be draining power, so this should start running again. It'll have to get down to 70% before we actually see it get back on. 70% would be 35K. May actually do a little more correct power. We have 5 scheduled. I don't think I showed this, but I added in a crafting monitor, which allows me to see the crafting that's going on right now. And I added in the crafting manager. All this does is allows me to see all the different crafters that I have on the network and access them from here so that I don't have to go and access them. I'm probably going to set up a central refined storage room that has like all my crafter stuff in it at some point. But for now, I just wanted to be able to access that while I was working. Let's do some more of those because that wasn't enough to really see the power keep on. You do Control Shift on the item if they're already in the system and you want to craft more. Let's craft 60. Why not? That should drain enough power that our system is struggling to keep up. So this is burning through power. Once we, like I said, once we get to 35 million FE in this reactor, it should kick itself on. So we're almost there, and then we'll see how quickly it fills itself back up. Yep. See, now it's flying up, making 60K FE per tick, and the system has cooled down to 29 degrees. Well, it's 57K. I think at the max it can hit to 60, but not even gonna have a chance to get there because once it got up higher, it stopped again. And so that means it's not going to continue to burn fuel constantly. Because like right now, it's not using any because the system is full of power. That's exactly what we wanted to see. And we can see that all of our power up here is completely full. It's got this energy cube is keeping this is not full yet because I set this back here to only allow in 1,000 per tick. because I was trying to make sure I had power downstairs. So let's just turn that on full bore now and see what happens. You can see how quickly this fills up with power because it's pulling them straight out of our network downstairs. Let's go down and look at the reactor again. So it has used all the power out of here, so now it is generating 62,000 FE per tick. And it's using that much 0.0448 millibuckets per tick to get it back up because it's running very efficiently because of it running at 29 degrees. So the last thing I want to do is up here in our, on this level, I had built this reactor just to keep the thing running. And this reactor, as opposed to that one, is much less efficient. But there's not really much I can do with the reactor casings now that I have them, because they don't have a way for us to upgrade them. So I'm going to break this reactor, and I'm going to grab this plug. Also going to grab this importer, and I'm going to grab this whole setup. And what we're going to do is we're going to set this system up downstairs to run alongside the other one, because there's really not much else I can do with it. Here. Back downstairs. I'm going to just set up this reactor right next to the other one. In fact, I think we can probably get away with setting this one up. This one's not going to use quite a large amount of water, so let's set it up like this. You know what? I'm going to do, remove this water system. What I'm going to do is put that right here. Let's we're going to need to put water on this level. I need to block here. There. There. This one. And so what we can do is we'll take this reactor and we'll set it right this side. This torch. The reason I want to put it on this side as opposed to that side is that I can come through here and right here we can put in our exporter, and then we can put in full redstone, granite. I'll have to grab it from the dry it. Sometimes when you try to do, you cancel a recipe itself. That's odd. taking its time. Oh, it's probably because the system is exporting it as soon as I make it. System 33. I see. So let's break this for a second, and then we're going to go over here and craft this again. Portable ice. Here, start all the things. So the next thing we need to do is just put in our pump between these two so that this pump can supply both of them. Our pump this. Power on this side. Flux point. Good. Put in our fluid pipe to extract. And then the last thing we need to do is put a flux plug on the other side here. And this reactor will also be working just fine. Now this one is only going to be producing a small amount of power, but like I said, I can't do anything with the reactor casings from the starter one. I might as well at least have a little extra power from it in case we need it. I think everything here looks good. Actually, I want to leave this open for a second longer. Last thing I want to set up is under refined storage. We should have an upgrade. Maybe it's an option in here. Maybe it's just an option in refined storage. In applied energistics, you have to actually put an upgrade. Maybe it's just an option. Items. Exact mode on. It's got to be a craft. There it is. This is what I need. So let's go make a couple of those. So what this upgrade is going to do is it's going to make it so that when we don't have an item in the network, but we have the ability to craft that item, it's going to make the item for us. So let's make 2 of these. We're going to need 4 of these so that we can make 2 of these. Need more quartz. So what this is going to do is make it so that, because right now we have the ability to craft dry ice, but we don't have dry ice in the system. If this works the way I'm expecting it to, we should come out and we should see that the system is going to queue up some dry ice. It already done it. So it's queuing up dried ice for our system so that it can insert dry ice in here. And so this system should start crafting dry ice for us and exporting it. I don't know if we're going to actually see it doing it because it's going to be pretty fast. B. Is scheduled. Cancel it. Correct. Yeah, okay. So now it's going. It must have just been stuck in. Oops. So it's crafting the dry ice it needs. It'll keep doing that until both of these have 64 in, and then we'll stop. Which is fine. We'll let that go for a while. So this is going to provide us with plenty of power that'll last us for quite a while. While I was finishing that up, I also went through our quest book and took a few rewards. I meant to record it. I didn't. Apologize. But we went through power, got these rewards, and the other things in here to finish off the power chapter is to do different generators. So we have the magmators, which would use lava to generate power. We have the thermo generator, which generates power from heat. And then we have the solar panels, which pretty obviously generates power from the sun. Ender cells are used to store energy, and they are basically they're like energy cells, and they allow us to do like wireless transfer of power. That's what the Ender gates and stuff are for, and the player transmitters. These are all things I'm going to craft off camera just to get these quests done, but it's all things that I'm currently doing with the Flux Networks mod, so it's a little bit redundant, and so I'm not going to be using them. I just want to craft them to get these rewards done. And that will finish out the power chapter. The one reward that I did get is I got Draconium seed, the tier 5 seed. So I'm going to set up to start growing these, and soon we're going to start working on the Draconic Evolution mod, which is here. This is a very extensive mod that can do a lot of crazy things, and I want to get into it, but it's going to take a lot of time to get into it because it is a pretty big mod. So we might start working on that in the next episode and get some of the basics set up, because we're probably going to be using mystical agriculture to provide us with draconium. I want to get that growing sooner rather than later, but it's probably going to take us some time to get into that. So I hope you enjoyed watching this episode, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.